Hi, my name is Jacob Tipton, and I'm going to be talking about affirmative action today. The ideals and what exactly it means, and how the negatives of affirmative action actually outweigh the positives. I'm going to be touching up on three main points. The first point is exactly what affirmative action is, what the process is, what people who are for affirmative action believe. My second main point is how these goals and how these ideals are actually hypocritical, and how they're discriminatory based on certain people, based on race or ethnicity. And my third main topic is going to be talking about the logistics of those things that I just mentioned. So exactly what the scores are that are required for certain people. And those are the three main points that I'm going to be touching on. So the main point is affirmative action and what it is. What does it encompass? Affirmative action is the raising up of a certain group based on hardships or discrimination that they have faced in the past. For example, the African American community has gone through much hardships. They've gone through terrible things in the past. Obviously, we all know this. And so have many other races and ethnicities. And colleges and institutions is what the main thing that I'm looking for. Colleges and institutions are granting these students based on race or ethnicity to score lower on tests such as ACT or SAT, to get lower GPAs, to have less involvement in their community because of their race. And they think that these people should be rewarded and these people should be championed based on the hardships that they've had based on their race. So that's the main goal of affirmative action. So essentially it's these people have had a hard time. It may or may not be anybody's fault. It's this or that. But we're trying to give them a chance that they may or may not have had the option to have. And the second main point that I'm going to talk about is how those goals are actually hypocritical. So obviously I'm a white person. Say I get a 35 on my ACT. Say an African American gets a 28 on his ACT. In certain colleges and certain institutions, that African American would be granted acceptance over me based on his race, ethnicity, and background. In my opinion, that's hypocritical. It's reverse racism, and I don't like that term. However, it truly is. If you really think about it, the fact that I am being excluded or a white person is being excluded based on the fact that they are white or Asian American or Hispanic or whatever it is, simply because another student scored lower but has a different race. And in my opinion, that's hypocritical. It's not okay and it's not morally right. My third main point that I'm going to really touch up on, this is the main point of my entire persuasion speech. The third point is the logistics of how colleges and institutions are actually discriminating against certain races based on their race. For example, Yale. The minimum ACT score for an Asian American in Yale is 33. And it fluctuates, but the average is 33. For an African American, it is 28. That is 5 points. That is a huge difference. And I really don't understand why certain institutions champion lower scores. And that's kind of my whole point. Is why should an Asian American who busted his butt, got a phenomenal score, and worked, and clearly put the work in because he understands the material, not be granted a spot because a student who got a lower score than him is simply a different race than him? That doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't sit well with me. The goal, and I'm going to touch back on that first point, the goal of affirmative action is to promote the most diverse ideas, the best ideas, the community growing ideas. They want their college students and they want their students to excel in everything they do. They want them to succeed in everything they do. In my opinion, granting students that have not achieved the higher level as other students, that doesn't promote that. That just promotes diversity, which is one of the 4 goals of affirmative action. For example, if a student has 10 million great ideas, but he's Asian American. And a black student has 5 million great ideas, but he's African American. Because of the testing standards, the African American student would be allowed entry because of his race, which means that you're missing out on how many ideas. And that doesn't really sit well with me. And so the main goal that I'm trying to promote is that affirmative action is discriminatory. And I believe that the student with the highest scores, the best GPAs, the most community involvement, the best overall morale should be allowed entry. It doesn't matter what race. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what hardships you've been through. The fact of the matter is colleges should look for the best student. Okay, we see that you have a 33. We see that you have a 4.0 GPA. We see that you have great involvement in community. You were a captain on your whatever basketball team. And now we're looking at this kid who has a 28 or a 26 or a 27 or a 30 ACT and a 3.8 GPA. However, you guys are different races. I believe that the best ideas come from the people that are most educated and better off to think for themselves. And that's nothing about races. It's simply the fact of who has the better ideas, who is more prepared for college life. And those are my main points. That's what I'm really trying to portray in the speech, is that colleges should not look for races. They should not look for diversity. They should look for the best ideas and find diversity in those ideas. And those are my main points, and hopefully you see the same side as I do. And I hope I didn't come off as as confrontational or stubborn. That's my speech.